Yeah, you were mentioning Vancouver and Toronto being major players in that in all basically national statistics. I was reading, I mentioned that touched on this last week, a Globe and Mail article talking about half of the Vancouver homeowners are mortgage free, and I think that obviously speaks to foreign investment, previous foreign investment. But it does say here that it says Vancouver residents are grappling with the highest real estate prices in Canada, and yet the city has the highest percentage of households without mortgages. So it says half of Vancouver owner households are mortgage free, according to census analysis. And housing in BC and other parts of Canada and story are both abundance and famine. Yeah. So where was it here? Anyways, long story short, the reason why I'm saying this is because I feel like, those, you obviously have much more leverage if you're mortgage free, as far as being able to continue to, buy homes or even sell homes, knowing that money's all coming back into your pocket. So I just wonder, I'm interested to hear what you think, like how that impacts the Vancouver market. Because I'm sure it's similar. I haven't seen the numbers for Toronto, but I would imagine that it's probably quite similar as far as, homes that are mortgage free.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if somebody's mortgage free, if they're able to sit on it longer, they're not being impacted by the rates. They're not going to be rushed to sell it, whether it's investment or owner occupied. I think, again, those sales numbers being down, it's really just from a qualifying perspective, and combine that with, who knows, maybe there's also that foreign buyer ban right now that came in beginning of January, how that is impacting those markets as well, and
that might be a big factor, actually.
Yeah. So those are in Toronto and Vancouver. Those are where I think it's about 5. I think I saw a stat. It's around 5. Foreign buyers make up about 5% of the purchases in Canada annually. That's obviously going to be primarily focused in Vancouver and Toronto, I would gather. So you've got that impacting, sales volume decrease. But yeah, those with no mortgage, I mean, they're not impacted the same way, and they'll be able to hold on. I think the numbers would be much worse if there wasn't so many with that were mortgage free. I think the markets would be in a really rough shape if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it says here Toronto. I read a bit further down. It says Toronto ranked 9th on the list with 43% of households mortgage free.
43%.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. Now I wonder how many of we're obviously, our country at least has a large quantity of baby boomers, people that are between, I don't even know what the range would be now, but let's say 55 to 85 years old, 60 to 85 years old. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 15, 20 years when those people do pass away. What's going to happen with, I'm assuming that a large, aside from foreign buyers potentially, but I'm assuming these aren't people working, standard 9 to 5s. They're just paying off their mortgage in 5 years, right? To be mortgage free, you've either been paying it for many years, so kind of fitting into that baby boomer class, or someone who's buying it cash as a foreign investor potentially, or I guess it could be, a local investor. But I can't imagine that half of the homeowners in Toronto are just your average mom and pa working their 9 to 5, paying their mortgage off quickly. So it'd be, I obviously they don't have a breakdown of who those mortgage-free homes belong to, but I would have to assume that a lot of them are going to be either kind of, elderly kind of baby boomers, or people that have bought from other countries. So I'm interested to see what happens in the coming, say, 15, 20 years with that market, when, those homes likely are going to either come back on the market or be passed on to family members, or, how that will shake things up in those markets.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think, another thing that will be something that everyone will want to watch or not necessarily watch, but it'll be interesting to see from a sales volume perspective. And this goes for, this is kind of out there for mortgage brokers and for realtors and buyers, really. There's the banks put out a stat that there's 1.1 million mortgages coming up for renewal in 2023. That's a huge number of mortgages that are coming up for maturity, that they are going to have to be qualifying, or not qualifying, but renewing at a rate that is likely anywhere from triple to double what they were before. You know, their mortgage back in 2018, 2019, they were mid threes, you know, really. You know, I know end of 2019, I remember, you know, fixed mortgages, like it was kind of that average of 3.25 to 3.65 kind of thing. And so really from a qualifying perspective, a lot of them are, you know, now going to be, if you're, you know, with a Scotia where their prices, you know, Scotiabank has some of the highest rates out there right now. So if you are a Scotia client coming up for renewal, certainly shop your rate. Don't just look at renewing with Scotia. They have some of the highest out there. But you know, you're getting in the fives and potentially with a Scotia, you're in the sixes. But you know, those are big jumps. And so it'll be interesting to see with those mortgages that are coming up for renewal. Number one, how many are investors and how many are going to be underwater where they no longer want to carry that mortgage and are going to be putting it up for sale, or owner occupied properties where their payments jump and now they're underwater, and kind of how that trickles down to the economy and what their discretionary, you know, discretionary spending is, how that impacts their unsecured debt and rising, you know, unsecured debt, depleting savings, all that. So it'll be really, you know, some of that will be telling as far as how long also the Bank of Canada holds rates up and kind of that overnight rate being high. But certainly for those, if you're one of those 1.1 million coming up for renewal this year, I implore you to speak to a mortgage broker and look at other banks.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because we'd really like that.